What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Trevor back again with another video. Yes, this is gonna be another prediction video, but I'm not gonna make it as long as the other prediction videos. I'm gonna, name the teams. Well, I'm gonna name every team in the NBA, and I'm gonna give a little freaking note about each team. Now, I will at the end may have more things to say in terms of like certain teams outlooks and stuff like that. But let's just go ahead and get into the video. So first team we got is the 76ers. This is a confusion phase. That's how I really got to say about the 76ers. Yes, they still got Maxey, Paul George, they got Caleb Jordan B. Hopefully he stay healthy. They got Bona as a backup. I think is Drummond still over there, I believe. So I'm not sure about how they outlook is gonna look for this season. Well, I would say I think they probably like a 43 win team, 43, 45 win team. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Next team we got is the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks is also like a confusion phase because like it's Giannis and then it's like okay, you got Miles Turner. Okay, you got Bobby Portis. Okay, you got Gary Trent Steele. You got and who else? They still got Kuzma. How would you feel about that team? You would feel like that's also like a mid type team. So I just feel like this Milwaukee Bucks team is probably peaked at 45 wins. And if it goes beyond that, that's just the youngest carry job in my opinion because like this roster is not good. Next team we'll talk about Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls, this is gonna be another year of development. Because last year was pretty bad. It was one of the best transition teams though, but yeah, they still need to like develop their guys like Josh Giddey. They trade with Zach LaVine mid offseason so they can develop guys like Matisse, and they can develop guys like Patrick Williams and stuff like that. Even though folks are probably out on Patrick Williams, and they still need to train Nikola Vucevic because Vucevic being on this rebuilding roster does not make no sense. Yes, in his early 20s when he was on a rebuilding roster with the Magic, that made more sense. This dude is in his 30s. This dude needs to be either traded. They just resigned it. They can't even buy him out. So like, I don't know. They gotta make sure they develop the young guy. They gotta feel like because they still got also Kobe White, and they could easily lost him. But look, they still got Kobe White. They still got Matisse. They still got freaking Petrol. They still got they still got who I just mentioned, and yeah, if this team can develop in the right. I keep forgetting Kobe White for some reason, but yeah, if this team go in the right direction, this team could be, I say like a 35 win team, and and yeah, that's really all I got to say to it. And don't be surprised they end up in the play once again because I always feel like the play always involved the Hawks or the Bulls somehow, and that was pretty long for one of the one of the up and coming teams. So let's go into the next team, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers was one of the best teams in the NBA. Won 60 games. Could won more, but I feel like they tailed off down the stretch. Maybe due to injuries, maybe due to them like really not going as hard to try to preserve their energy for playoff time. But yeah, folks saw the writing on the wall with this team because folks feel like this is the Hawks. Like they feel like this was the 2014, 2015 Hawks team. And they kind of like showed that because like the way they got exited out the playoffs by the Pacers when they was the better team is kind of crazy. So hopefully with their addition with Lonzo Ball trade for him for with Isaac Okoro contract, I feel like that was an amazing deal because now you take the pressure off your guards like Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell to consistently make points. Now they can work more off ball and preserve their energy. And then having a defensive guard, a defensive playmaker like Lonzo, he can also be switchable. He's 6'5". Like this guy, he can switch on 1 through 4, hold his own, and he can get you to the right sets and be like a connector piece where the ball would not stick in his hands for too long. So yeah, with this team, I feel like this team is going to win 60 games again. I feel like they could be in the ballpark for like 62, 65 wins if everybody stay healthy. Okay, so next team I got is the Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, what they lost to Jason Tatum, this outlet don't look good for them, but I feel like I see them as a scrappy 43-win team. And that's no disrespect to like the guys that's on their roster, but like just look at their roster. Like they lost Al Horford, Jason Tatum is injured. They still got Derek White somehow, who they can still trade. By the way, they can trade and get multiple assets for him. Okay, they still got Jaylen Brown. I don't know if they will ever trade Jaylen Brown, but that could be something to think about. But nah, I just lean on the side that I could trade him. And then like they big man spot after losing Al Horford and trading like Kristaps Porzingis to the Hawks. I just don't know, bro, because yeah, it's not looking good for Boston Celtics. So the next team we're going to talk about, let's see if no, I'm not. Okay, I think I'm not missing any more teams after the season. So the next team we're going to talk about is the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the Atlanta Hawks is pretty interesting because they have like changed their offense completely from being Trae Young centric to now being more team friendly. Because now I seen a preseason clip that Trae Young is cutting off balls and stuff like that. And if Trae Young is moving, because we all know he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. If Trae Young can move on ball, can like come for layups, can freaking use him as like a person that can come on screens and stuff like that. And this year, because we all know he's one of the best passers in basketball, bro. So like he's like a consistent 22, 10 a night. So. And he was 25 and 10 tonight, but now his role got reduced. Now I can see him being like 22 and 10. So with that being said, I feel like the Atlanta Hawks can be a sneaky 50-win team. But I'm just going to count them at 47 wins right now because I don't want to be too high on them and disappoint because like the Hawks, they trade for Kristaps Porzingis, great move. They still got Jalen Johnson. They still got Dyson Daniels, Trae Young. They killed Alexander Walker to this team by paying him a good contract. They still got Nick Okongwu. They let go and quick appeal let him go to the Rockets. So I feel like this team is in the right direction development wise. It's just all about how they're going to perform on court and injuries. Last year they lost Jalen Johnson. That kind of just hurt their progress tremendously. And hopefully after this shoulder surgery he had, hopefully he can come back to his normal self. Next thing we're going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this Hornets team, I don't know, man. This Hornets team it has the makings of like a 40-win team. But I just don't think they have the good habits to actually reach that mark. I just feel like the way they drafted a big man this year, right? That was a good move. But it's like, it feels like something's missing with this team every year. And we going to see how it translates on the court. But in my opinion, also for the Hawks, I give them like what? Well, like I said, 47 wins or something like that. And with the Hornets, though, I just peaked them at 30 wins this season. I don't think, well, I don't want to give you away, but I just think the Hornets as a 30-win team, I feel like that's like pretty good to me. Okay, so next thing we're gonna talk about is the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, I just feel like they still need to trade Lauri Markkanen. I don't know how they're going to do it. They should have signed to that contract. If they don't sign Lauri Markkanen to that contract, now if they get assets in return, now you have more assets to try to develop instead of trying have Lauri Markkanen be one of your top two players on this team when he should not be. right? The players that should be the focal point of this team, it should be Isaiah Collier, it should be Ace Bailey, though, right? I think Keontae George is on this team still. Walker Kessler, like those are the players that you should be focusing on as like you're trying to develop. Now you're in a situation where it's already marketing. Then I feel like Ace Bailey, there's Isaiah Collier, Walker Kessler. Like you going down and down the freaking best players or like the focal points of the team, and you see the younger players is freaking like getting the less love, which I feel like that should be the opposite way around. Now we gonna see how they utilize Art Market this season, but I just feel like if they trade him, they trajectory would have been way better. Now you have a Supermax like this is my hot take, and I'm probably gonna make a separate video on this later. If you are a development team and you trying to like and not trade for guys that's gonna freaking like progress your development faster, like. Let's just say they try to trade for DeJounte Murray, right? They did that last year, right? They will try to progress towards the playoffs, right? But they didn't make no moves like that. And now we in a situation where you have a Supermax contract as a development team. I feel like no development team should have a Supermax contract unless it's like a 2-year or expiring contract, like what the Brooklyn Nets just did by trading for Michael Porter Jr. on basically like a 2-3 year contract, bro. Like I feel like that's how you should do it. Ain't no way you're signing Larry Market to a 4 or 5 year Supermax. Like, what are we doing here? No, that should not have been the case. So, with my outlook for the Jazz, I feel like this is also like a 35 win team. The reason why they wins get juiced this season because I feel like Ace Bailey definitely gonna surprise some folks. He definitely gonna push for a Rookie of the Year award. Now next team we're gonna talk about is the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings. I don't understand what this roster is. This roster is utter confusing. I almost say utter trash, but we got to see it on paper. But this roster is just confusing. Why in the world you have so many guards? You just signed Russell Westbrook today. You have Devin Carter. You have Malik Monk. You have Dennis Schroeder. Like, what's the point of all these guards? You have Zach LaVine, by the way. What's the point of all these guards? You can't trade Zach LaVine right now because you was basically the only team that wanted him. So the market for Zach LaVine not gonna be that good. You just signed Dennis Schroeder. What in the world are you doing? Devin Carter, you just drafted him last year. And now you signed Russell Westbrook. So I'm predicting that the Kings are going to be heavy sellers this deadline because I feel like this team is just not gonna go nowhere. This is gonna be like a 35 to 40 win team at best. And yeah, they're going to be big sales at the deadline. And we're not even 30 to 40 wins. I feel like 30 to 35 wins because this team is just not good. I'm sorry, it's just not good at all. So, next team we're going to talk about is the New York Knicks. So, I feel like their trajectory is different this year because instead of keeping Tom Thibodeau, whose chops is really on the defensive end, and they're really not a good defensive team because you have Karl-Anthony Towns playing center, right? Now, this year, on the other hand, now they have Mike Brown as the coach with the same roster. And I feel like their offense is going to be tremendously better. Tremendously better. You're going to see Jalen Brunson take a lighter load in the regular season, and we're going to see him like sparkle crazy in the playoffs. And I feel like that's how it should be. Instead of wearing all these guys down to the ground, because you see it like a semblance of last year, how Mikal Bridges was, I think that was the first year on the team, and he already like right away just disagreed with Tom Thibodeau's approach to playing players like that. So yeah, I see the New York Knicks being like a 53 win team this year. And yeah, what they improving with Mike Brown, who I think is the better coach out of the two as this current moment, out of the two, him and Tom Thibodeau, we going to see some big changes. Okay, so yeah, next team we'll talk about is the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this is my favorite team. I feel like with the loss of LeBron, it's definitely gonna hurt us at the beginning of the season. The 3 to 4 week timeline is probably gonna be like maybe 5 to 7, to be honest with you, because he still have to be evaluated, and then they have to clear him after that evaluation. Then you're gonna have a ramp up period. So we going to see him probably almost close to December. Almost. I hate that it's going to be like that. I just hope he just don't rush himself. Because if he rushes himself, he's gonna get injured further, and yeah, it's going to set the Lakers back more than anything. But with this Reeves Luka duo, if both can stay healthy, this team could be a 50. Well, like it was 50 wins last year. They could be a 53 to 55 win team this year. But it all depends on the consistency 1990, and you already know Luka is gonna give you at least 26 to 30 a night, 7 to 7. Like, bro, he's gonna give you the production. It's all about how the team is gonna look outside of the best players on this team as of this current juncture. So, yeah, hopefully by season end we can actually speak about Luka and actually him contending for MVP. So, next team. Oh, okay. So there's one team I forgot, and that was the Los Angeles Clippers. This Clippers team is also a feisty team, bro. Don't get it twisted. This team won 50 games last year. Was they the fifth seed? Yeah, they was the fifth seed. Yeah, it was the fifth seed last year. And I feel like this year they could probably be around the same mark this year because like they still have to old manage Kawhi because Kawhi Leonard, he obviously can't play 4 seasons no more. His body it just has been broken down. So we going to see a different like outlook from the Clippers, but I just feel like, well, not a different outlook in terms of like win total cover. Like I said, I see them as a 51-54 win team where everything's going on and with the roster still being the same. Well, not the same. I say different. It's different in some areas, like they backup big rotation is way better than instead of having the corpse of Drew Eubanks or freaking Mason Plumlee and stuff like that. You still have a corpse of Brook Lopez, but he's way better than those players as a backup big. So that's really what I say for that. Next thing I'm gonna talk about is the Orlando Magic. Now, the Orlando Magic was very hurt last year. They was like beat down. And I predicted them to be one of the best teams in the conference, but since they freaking team just exploded, they barely made the playoffs. So I don't know, with health, I feel like could be like a 47-win team. With the health not be like and being heavily included, this is like a 41-win team. They offense, yes, they definitely trade for offense with Desmond Bain, but like to be honest, like is that gonna really put them over the top of like the East teams as the Celtics gonna have like a little down year? Not sure about that, but it remains to be seen. So I would predict it to be like a 45-47 win team. Next team we'll talk about is the Dallas Mavericks. This team is also gonna be a feisty, like hungry team, night in, night out. They have Anthony Davis, they have Cooper Flag, they have D'Angelo Russell, they have Klay Thompson still, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall. I know I'm missing a couple pieces. Kyrie Irving, there's a potential he might come back in March or something like that. Even though I just don't, I think he's just gonna sit out the rest of the season. Yeah, this is looking like a feisty 47, and if they can really push it, 50-win team, and then if they become 50-win team and Cooper Flag averages something around like 15.75 or something like that, yeah, that's definitely Cooper Flag award. He's gonna lock up, no doubt about it. Next team I'll talk about is the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans is interesting because like they traded away Brandon Ingram. They didn't get nothing back because Bruce Brown, he went back to the Nuggets. I'm not sure. I think Kelly Olynyk maybe still on this team, but like, okay, like that was Brandon Ingram trade value. So, and then they made a confusing move, trading their 2026 pick away to trade up. Like, And then you have Joe Dumars going to Poland telling me this we're not trying to rush the progress. Even though we traded a pick away, we just trying to like what you if you trade a pick away, you feel like that player right there is going to take you over the top. And that player was Derek Queen. So if you don't feel like this is going to speed up your development process, why do the trade? That's simple GMing right there. But hey, I'm not GM. I'm not working in these front offices yet. But we going to see some bad basketball being played in New Orleans. I feel like this is like a 17 to 25 win team written all over it because this Pelicans team not good. Yes, they have like a slim down version of Zion, but like you have Jeremiah Fears, right? You have Derek Queen. Trying to see. I think they still got Kerry Lane. They still got the European side. I think his name like Markovic or something like that. I don't want to butcher his name too badly. Yeah, this is just a young team. This is probably Willie Green last year with the team. Because I just don't see no true like progress that's going to be made with this team at all. So yeah, that's really my opinion. Next thing I'm talking about is the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons, they definitely surprised for last year after they debacle of a 23-24 season. They came back strong this season, last season, and now I feel like they're going to be in the same ballpark of wins, like 45, 47 wins. This is going to be, we already know how Detroit basketball is like feisty, and then with JB Bickerstaff as their coach, yeah, they going to fight every night. They did last year. So yeah, and don't be surprised if they hit 50 wins because I feel like everywhere JB Bickerstaff has gone, they show like development each time. So we going to see something special. Now they did lose Malik Beasley. He was one of these 3-point snipers on the bench, but I don't think it's going to hurt them as much. And hopefully with Jay Ivey coming back, hopefully we probably going to see like a different dynamic in their offense compared to last year. Next team I would talk about is the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, the Toronto Raptors. So the Toronto Raptors, this is obviously a young team. They really wanted a swingman so bad, so that's when they traded for Brandon Ingram. They still got Scotty Barnes. They still got RJ Barrett. They drafted CMB. Yeah, they still got Jakob Poeltl on this team. I feel like they should trade him, but we'll see. I feel like with his salary though and how the CBA is, it's like his contract just kind of like it's very hard to trade for. And you don't want Jakob Poeltl as what is kind of like 16, 19 mil per year. And he really don't have an offensive game like that. You don't want to trade for that. He's a good defensive big, don't get me wrong, but he also kind of declining as the years go along. But this Toronto Raptors team, they also kind of scared me because like players saying one thing, like in terms of like wanting to make the playoffs, the GM saying they not rushing to make the playoffs. That kind of scaring me. So like I don't know. This give out the vibe of a 25 to 30 win team, and yeah, the sound bites for me today. It's like players are aligned on one thing, and the front office is aligned on another thing. That's no good if you're trying to actually win games in this league. So this team we're talking about is the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets, I would say, surprised me being a 50-win team. So when you add a guy like KD and trade away Jalen Green, I feel like your outlook is definitely going to be different. And yes, they did lose Fred VanVleet, one of the ball handling guards. But like I feel like after the VanVleet injury, this injury is not that bad as if people see it, bro. Because like now you're gonna have more touches for your best players. Amen Thompson, way better than freaking Fred VanVleet handling the ball and trying to get into the lanes. Sengun, one of the best passers in basketball. Now you have him initiate more offense like they've been doing in the freaking preseason. That's how you like change the outlook of a team. I understand Fred VanVleet is like could get them assists and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, he's like 5'11", 6 foot. couldn't get to the rim, and then if he can't get to the rim, his playmaking opportunity is going to be limited, and his shooting was inconsistent. Like, how is this so detrimental to like a team that's wanting to make the finals? Like, no, I just feel like this was definitely like something to like to call like to halt your expectations, but it's not supposed to hurt your expectations of the Rockets, because I feel like this Rockets team is definitely like a 52-55 win team, and I'm probably gonna give them like 54 wins this year easily, because you add KD, you still have Sengun, you still have Minton, you still have Tari Eason, who they can still trade for more assets, right? Steve Adams, Clint Capella. I understand the signing of Clint Capella if you have Steve Adams, but that means one of them probably gonna be on their way out mid-season. Yeah, you still have Jabari Smith Jr. You still have Reed Shepherd. Like, this team is not going to be just so worried about that Fred VanVleet injury. I can promise you that this team is still going to win games, and then with KD being in town, your expectation is to win games. So yeah, that's all I got to say about the Houston Rockets. The Spurs, that's going to be the next team we talk about. The Spurs is interesting because they had De'Aaron Fox, they drafted Dylan Harper, but before that they drafted Stephon Castle. And I like, if Ace Bailey was on this team, I'd probably feel a lot differently. But like, with all these guards, now you gonna have to play one of them at small forward at times. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this team should have been 51 team this year, but and they can still be it. Don't get me wrong. But like, as of today though, I just see them as a 45 win team. And I just feel like one of their guards just has to go, because like, it doesn't make no sense to have all these guards on the roster with no true wing. Like, you're only like your good wings on this team is like Devin Vassell. He's all right. He definitely had a down year. Like Keldon Johnson, you still have Harrison Barnes, who's a good vet, a good foreman in the league. But it's like, where we going off that? Like, I just feel like it made no sense to draft Dylan Harper when you had Ace Bailey, who can like buy into a role with the right environment. But we'll see how this goes. Dylan Harper's not a bad player by any means. I just feel like they just have an influx of guards. That's all I think I gotta say. Next team I'm talking about is the Oklahoma City Thunder. This team could win 70 games last year, and I was kind of like hesitant on freaking predicted them to have 60 wins, because like, every time a team is predicted to win 60 wins, right, there's always something happen, like an injury, them like not being as consistent on a 90 basis. But like, even with the injuries, Jalen Williams was hurt, Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren was hurt. Especially those two I just named. Chet Holmgren missed literally all of the season. Isaiah Hartenstein, he missed the majority of the first half of the season. So, yeah, and they still ended up winning 68 games. And then most of the time, it wasn't even healthy. So, just imagine if this team is fully healthy. This team is probably touching 70 wins, dog. They just might. Because this team is just so great defensively. It's like, and then like, they play extra physical because they know they have the reputation to do it. So now we have to fight a Thunder team. As a league, by the way, we have to fight a Thunder team that's gonna freaking like get away with a lot more stuff, because now not only they have the defensive reputation on their side, they also have the championship this team name as well. So yeah, this I definitely consider as a 70 win team easily. They still talk about the Timberwolves. Like, they was a good 6 seed team, and I just feel they're gonna slide in like pretty much the same, because like, they really like the only thing they did was just re-sign guys like Julius Randle and Naz Reid, and they was in the KD sweepstakes. If they would trade like Rudy Gobert, Jay McDaniels, and stuff like that, I definitely would see this team a lot differently. But KD didn't want to go to Minnesota because of the weather and stuff like that. So now you basically have the same squad as last year. And I just feel like, yeah, if Anthony Edwards could go, well, he went crazy last year. That's what folks don't get. His 3-point volume went up a ton. Now he's working on his post game for late in game situations. But I just feel like he should keep that 3-point volume up. Like that's the only way this Timberwolves team can like continue to stay above water if he continues to produce on a 99 base, because like Julius Randle, he's gonna give you production. Nas Ricky gonna give you production. Jamie Day, he gonna give you production. But I just feel like this team is kind of capped out, and that's why the Timberwolves decided they wanted to be in the KD sweepstakes, because this team, I don't think it's gonna like they made it to conference finals again, but I just feel like this team is not gonna be over the top as they want to be, because like I just feel like they just don't have the pieces necessary. They still got Mike Conley, right? They killed Alexander Walker. Like I don't know, man. They still got Rod Dillingham, but yeah, man. I just don't see a good outlook for this team. I see them as like like a 47, 48 win team this year. I'd say like 48 wins this year. Um, this team, I'm gonna talk about the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers is an interesting team because this team actually showed promise last year because it was one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. It just like they didn't really have the makings of a playing team. Really, they still on the brink. I feel like this year they can make the play in this year because they trade Anthony Simons. They got freaking Drew Holiday back. Let me see what else they did. They still got Jeremy Green on this roster. I disagree with him being on the roster, but what can you do? They signed to a big contract, and he's like a 6'8" wing. This a 6'8" wing that shot like 39% from the field. Like I don't see you're getting anything back from him. So, but yeah, they decided to re-sign Dane after he got bought up by the Bucks. Like I said, got Drew Holiday. They still got Shane Sharp. They still got Scoot Henderson. They still got Dan Avdia, right? They still got David Quigley. They signed that Chinese, not signed, they drafted that Chinese center. He probably looked pretty good. Yeah, this team has the makings to be a playing team. I can definitely see them as another scrappy young team. Well, I would say they majority have young players. A scrappy young team that's going to look to try to make some noise. And be prepared because this team is going to give you their best shot every night. And I got two more teams to talk about. One I forgot to mention, and one that's going to finish out, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, I really don't have no expectations for them. Yeah, they traded Cam Johnson. They got value for him. They got Cam Johnson. They traded him away to get MPJ. They got Cam Thomas. They drafted a bunch of rookies. Jaeger, what's his name? Jaeger something. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. They got Danny Wolf on the team, and I forgot the other person they drafted. But they drafted 3 young guys with their 3 picks. I feel like if the Brooklyn Nets wanted to, and if they had the chance to, they would have wanted to trade for Giannis because obviously it sounds like Giannis wants to be in that New York, New Jersey market. But yeah, man, I don't know. That obviously didn't open up for them, so they ended up having to draft those 3 rookies. And it also looked like they expected one of their picks to be like a top pick. That's why they had that docu series, going over their draft process and stuff like that. But, they had to just. And also they drafted Nolan Torrey. He was one of the best slashing guards I saw last year. I think his stock kind of dropped because of how he performed his final season over there in France and stuff like that. But yeah, we gonna see how the Brooklyn Nets look. I just see them as a what? It's kind of scrappy last year. I'd say like 33 wins. Yeah, I can definitely see that as 33 wins. Okay, so the final team I'm talking about the end of this video of was the Golden State Warriors. Now, I did say this wasn't going to be a long video, but when I get to talking, unfortunately. Yeah, this Golden State Warriors team, they have championship aspirations. That's why they trade for Jimmy Butler. But I don't know, because now you have bad vibes in the locker room. This team can easily spiral out of control and be like a barely 45 win team, even though they should be higher. Now I'm gonna predict them higher because I feel like with the pieces they gonna get back from the Jonathan Kuminga trade, I feel like they definitely gonna be on the right track then. So like with that being said, I've seen them as like a 49 win team, and there's no disrespect because I feel like Jimmy Butler is going to give you shot creation, but he's not obviously the same Jimmy Butler with all these injuries racking up. Draymond Green, he's still one of the best defensive bigs in the league. They didn't even have to trade. They signed Al Horford. They signed DeAnthony Milton. You know, he's coming off of ACL. I still feel like he's gonna be effective. They signed Steph Curry, right? They signed all these guys. They re-signed Gary Payton II. Even though I feel like that position should have been suited for like another big man, because yeah, they got quick posts. Yeah, they got Al Horford, but I just feel they need an actual legit four man. Them seeing Gary Payton as a freaking four-man on this team is consistently why I just don't view them as high, because they view their guards as four-men or like threes or four. Like, no, that's not, like, I understand small ball, like, it's a real big thing, but I feel like we're trending away from that, and folks are getting double bigs. You need to adjust accordingly. All this freaking Gary Payton at the four nonsense needs to stop, because the better teams in the league are running like too big. So like the Thunder, like the Cavs, like who else? Like the Nuggets, the Nuggets per se, but you know they got actual legit four man. Like we're gonna see how this plays out, because this team is really on the old side. So this team is gonna be one of the slowest paced teams in the league. So they definitely gonna have to hang their hat on the defensive end. And yeah, like I said, they're going to be like a 48, 49 win team this year. And that's really all I got to say for today's video. This is actually a long-winded video compared to what I expected. So yeah, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe. This is your boy Trail. I'm out.